Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make these adorable gift bags with your Cricut. Okay, so let's go over what we've got here. This first gift bag has like a chimney look with little Santa legs sticking out, so Santa is going down the chimney, and I've done all of this in Cricut Design Space. The second gift bag I made with Cricut, I have used some patterned cardstock, and I wrote this with my Cricut pens, and I did this one all in Cricut Design Space. This Rudolph gift bag, I did most of this in Cricut Design Space except for the antlers. I did have to get a different file because just using the shapes, I wasn't able to get quite the right look for the antlers, so I did pull in something else for that one. But this gift bag I made in Cricut Design Space. And this last one, I did this all in Cricut Design Space as well. I just put in the font here, cut out the words. And this is actually a piece of real sheet music, but you can buy patterned cardstock that has the sheet music on it, so you don't have to have actual sheet music for this to work. Okay, so let's hop over into Design Space and I'll show you how I designed each of these bags, and then we'll cut them out and I'll show you how to put them together. Okay, so let's start with the Santa and the chimney one, because that's going to be the most detailed one that we're going to do. So I've got it all here, and I created every bit of this in Design Space, and I will just get started on showing you how. So I'm going to hide this to kind of get it out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And you'll notice I have my screen reduced to 75% so that we can see the whole project, because it is a larger project. Okay, the first thing you want to do is grab a square. And you need to size this square to whatever size gift bag you want to decorate. The gift bags that I did were 8 by 10. They were 8 wide and 10 tall. I need to unlock this square here. Okay, so this is the size bag that I'm working with. I'm going to turn this brown, kind of like the bag, so we know this is the bag. Now let's start on those bricks. Okay, again, we're going to come to the shapes. If you do not have Cricut access, I want you to get this kind of rounded square or this rounded rectangle. If you have Cricut access, you can come and get this more detailed one, which is what I have used for the project. And we're going to turn it gray, because that's the color that I used on the project. And just to get a good visual. Okay, so now let's unlock this square and let's just size it however we think is going to be good for this bag. So here's one. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hit Control D on my computer and it will give me this new one over here. And then I'm going to do it again, Control D. Okay, so those aren't quite big enough. I want it to be a little bit longer, but not taller. Oh, unlock it. No wonder it wasn't working for me. All right, I'm going to delete these two. Let's try this. So duplicate, duplicate. That looks like that's going to be just fine. So this is the basic brick I'm going to work with. I just need more of them. So again, I'm going to keep duplicating, and I am hitting Control D on my keyboard to duplicate. But you can also come over here where it is in your panel, have it selected, and click duplicate, and it'll get you another one that way as well. Or you can right click and duplicate. So many different ways you can duplicate these things. Did I have 3 rows of bricks? Let me get my other one out and see. Where did it go? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I did have 3 rows of bricks. Okay. Now, to get this one here, since bricks need to have this kind of stacked look, we need to take one and cut it in half. So just grab you one to duplicate, center it up. Do you see this cross in the middle? You need to place this cross where it is directly on a line so that we're going to know for a fact we have the center. Come get another square, unlock this box, make this thing as skinny as you can, and just come and put it right here in the middle. Make sure it is lined up perfectly on this line. You see this line I'm talking about? That's going to be perfectly in the middle of the square. Drag a box to select everything and slice. Okay. Now we don't need this anymore. We don't need this or this guy. Now previously Design Space would have split this into two different portions, which is what we need, but some of the recent updates have taken that feature away. So we're going to have to do a little more work on this one. Let's duplicate this guy one more time. I know it's a lot of duplicating. Okay, so this one I'm going to come and contour out the right side, and this one I'm going to come and contour out the left side. So contour, get rid of the right, contour, get rid of the left. Now I can place these guys over here. And I've got that completed brick look. But let's line it all up just for visual aspects. You'll be placing each one individually on the bag, but for visual aspects here, I don't want this in there. Let's align all of this. So group these guys together. Group these, and again, I'm using my quick commands. I'm hitting Control G to group everything together. Okay, let's align everything over here to the left. Beautiful. Put it on the bag. Actually, left alignment wasn't the best idea. Let's center all of this. That looks better. Okay. So we are rocking and rolling now. We need to get one more piece of masonry at the top. So let me pull the old one back out so you can see again. We need to get this long piece. Let me move this to the front. We need to get this long piece right here in. So grab yourself another rounded shape of some sort from here. If you have the access, come down and get the same brick that you used before. Unlock it. Scrunch it up. Drag it out. However long you think you want it to hang over your bag. That's 100% up to you. Change its color. And we're done with our bricks. So I'm going to group all the bricks together. I've selected this first one. I've selected all of these by holding Shift and just clicking each section. And now I'm going to hit Control G, or I could come up here and click Group. Okay, that's done. We're going to set it aside because now we're going to make these legs. Okay, so this is going to be hard to believe, guys, but these feet, these are just hearts. Come into your shape, get yourself a heart, turn it black, and we're going to rotate it. To rotate, you want to hover over one of the handles and then just slide out a little bit until you get rotate bars. That is going to be a boot. How about that? You just need a flat edge across the top, and then we're going to grab this rectangle here with the rounded sides. We are going to rotate it to 90 degrees, or you could have come up here and put 90. Let me actually just type in 90 so it's perfectly rounded or perfectly straight. Let's turn it red. Okay, we need to unlock it, and we're just going to scooch it in until it fits on top of our boot. Look at that, Santa legs, how about that? Okay, so you've got one done. Now we need to make the little puffy part. We're just going to grab some circles, nothing fancy here. Whoops. Come here, circle. There we go. Make it a lot smaller. Turn it white. Let's see. That's probably a good size. So we're going to duplicate this a couple times. And you don't have to, whoops. You don't have to be super precise with anything here. You're just placing them on top of each other to kind of appear like that fluffy part on the bottom of Santa's pants. Once you get them all in there, drag a box to select it, weld them together. There you go. There is one Santa leg. Let's group all this together, duplicate it, and we're going to flip this one. Come to flip, flip horizontal, check out your Santa legs. It was that easy, guys. I just literally created it all right there using the shapes in Design Space. So let's put it back on our brick. So I'm going to rotate this guy. Get this one here. Rotate. Place them down here. We might want these legs to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to hold shift and just make each one a little bit bigger. Okay. And the only thing is you want these to go underneath. So you want to arrange, send backwards, and keep doing it until it goes underneath. Same thing with this one. Arrange, send backwards. Okay. That bag is done. You would click make it, send out, well, delete this guy. You don't need the bag. This is just so you can see how it fits onto your bag. But this is all ready to be sent to the printer or to the Cricut. I'm going to delete it and we will move on to the next bag. Okay, next let's do this one here. This one was the one that had the plaid paper right here, and then it had the Merry Christmas written with the Cricut pens. So again, you'll pull in your template. This is the size of bag that we're using. And you will just start with your shapes from there. I'm going to go ahead and hide all of this so that we can start from scratch. Okay, so shapes. If you don't have the access, again, just come get yourself a regular square, but if you have the access, you want to use the same square shape that we used for the chimney. Let's rotate this at 90 degrees, turn it green, or whatever color you want to use. This is 100% up to you on what colors you want yours to be. Unlock this guy and size him to the bag. Okay, I'm going to center this. So I've got my green selected. I'm going to hold shift, select the brown, and I'm just going to center it in the middle. Okay, so there's my outer layer. To get my inner layer, I'm going to use the offset so that I have the exact same size and I don't have to resize anything. I'm just going to offset it. So offset, and you want to do a negative. We want to come down in here because we're actually going to make an inset. So you can see it put this little border around. That would be a 0.25 offset. Let's make it a negative 0.15 and see that it came in here. That's not quite big enough. Let me try a 20, negative 0.20. That'll work. That's good. And I want to make these corners squared. I don't want them rounded at all. I want them just as crisp and clean as the original one. Apply. And I'm just going to change the color of this to something. This is the one that I'm going to have the patterned cardstock on. So you'll use your solid cardstock for the outside layer, which I've done in green, your patterned cardstock for the inside layer. Let's make the rest of these banners. Come and get a regular square, bring it over here, unlock it, and size it. Okay, now we do want this to be the exact width of our design here. I'm going to move the bag out of the way. We want it to match the design perfectly. So my green layer has a width of 7.404. I need this to have the same width. 7.404. Okay. Now it is exactly the width of the outside layer, which is what we're going to want when we're done with this. And you could have unlocked it and made it as tall or skinny as you wanted, but I think that actually looks pretty good. Let's see, what color? I believe I had this one red on the bag. Okay, now let's duplicate it for the inner layer, or actually we just can do the inset again. And 0.20 is going to be just fine. That's the difference in size we had in the big parts. So let's make that the same difference in size on the small parts. Apply. We're going to change its color to this creamy color. And just like that, we're shaping up really, really well here. We're going to cut green. We're going to cut patterned cardstock. We're going to cut red. We're going to cut what other color you want. Mine is cream, but you're going to match these colors to the cardstock that you're using. And guys, I get all of my cardstock from scrapbook.com because it's fabulous, but you can get your cardstock from anywhere. You can get it from Walmart, any craft store that's local to you. You can get it from Amazon. It doesn't matter where you get your cardstock. Just find something that's pretty and match your colors, and it'll be great. Okay, let's write Merry Christmas. So text, I'm going to double click in here, type out Merry Christmas, and then I'm going to change the font. So something that's important is if we're using pens, we want to find a writing font. So I'm going to hit filters, and I'm going to select only fonts that have the writing option. It was called Merlot. I'm just going to go type for that, or search for that. There it is. So now it has changed this to Merlot, but for some reason it didn't put it in the writing style. So I'm going to change its style to writing. And now it will write Merry Christmas. I'm going to size it to fit in the middle here. Make sure it's not hanging off the bottom any. Okay, it's currently a cut. Even though we put it at writing, it still says it's a cut. So we need to change this to pen. And then we're going to come change the color of the pen. And I used a wine colored pen. Okay, this bag is done. Something that's important though, you need to attach this writing to this square here or it will just write wherever it feels like it. So I'm going to select the portion that's written. I'm going to hold shift and select that square behind it, that rectangle behind it, and I'm going to attach. If you skip that step, your pen will just write wherever it feels like writing, and that's not what we want. We don't want to be wasting expensive cardstock. So make sure that you attach your writing to whatever it is you want to write it on. Okay, let's move on. Gonna delete that guy. Let's do Rudolph next. Here's Rudolph. Again, this one is super, super simple. Something to keep in mind though, I'm going to shrink the screen just a little bit more. You want the antlers to come off of the bag. You don't want them inside. So you want to make this whole thing pretty large. He is super simple. Grab yourself the circle. Drag it out however big you think you want it to be. Turn it red. Stick it on your bag. Just size it up. I'm eyeballing this. I'm not going to be super precise on anything. I'm going to grab another circle for an eye. Going to turn it white. Stick it over here. Duplicate that because I need another one here. There we go. Okay. For the middle part of the eye, use this more oval one, not the complete circle. And let's rotate it 90. Okay. We're going to turn it black. Just place it over here and see how big you want it. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Now we need to make that cutout. What I mean is this scoop here. We need to make that. So get another circle. Shrink it down. Stick it in there. Let's turn it white. And size it however big you think you want the little cutout to be. Drag a box around both of them. Slice. We can delete all of that. We don't need it. Okay. Here's one eye. Duplicate this guy. There's two eyes. So just like that, we've got the nose and the eyes done. I'm going to move all this out of the way. That was almost an exact match. Now it's time for the antlers. This was the only thing I was not able to draw with shapes in Design Space. I did have to go find a file for it. You can come into Images and you can type in reindeer. And you can sort through all of this to find yourself. These would actually be perfect. Those would be great. To find yourself some antlers. Or you can use the file that I used, which I got from Creative Fabrica. Let me show you where it is. Okay, so here we are at Creative Fabrica. And, oh, it looks like I didn't favorite it. Okay, so just type in reindeer SVG. And you'll see all kinds of stuff pull up. How cute! Oh, I love Creative Fabrica. And you'll scroll until you find the antlers that are right for you. Why did I not save them? I can find them in my downloads. Here they are. If you want this exact set of antlers, I will link it for you. It was called Reindeer Antler Christmas 5. Let me show you how I used it. So I went and I uploaded it into Design Space. Click Upload, Upload Images, go find your file that you downloaded from Creative Fabrica and get it in there. Then you'll select and add to Canvas. And then you'll have to delete some things because we don't need all of this file. So let's ungroup it and delete everything we do not need. So we're left with just the antlers. And you size them up. I've held them, or I clicked Shift while I held Shift and clicked each one separately to group them together. Then you just determine what size you want them to be. And that's that. That guy is ready to go too. All right. Let me hide this. And let's do the last bag. Okay. The last bag was the one where I had the music, the sheet of music with Noel on it. Now this is the way I designed it in Design Space, but when I put it on the bag, I stacked the N-O over the E-L. It's up to you. You do it however you want to do it. Let's design this one. So here's our bag. We're going to pull in a square and just size it however you want it on the bag. If you want it to be a little less square, a little more rectangle, you unlock it, drag it out. Now I'm going to turn this one white for sheet music. Like I said, when I was putting it together, I happen to play piano. I have tons and tons of sheet music, and I was more than happy to give up one of my old copies of music to make this gift bag. If you don't have access to sheet music, you can buy cardstock that has the sheet music, or actually it's patterned paper. You can buy patterned paper that has the sheet music on it. Again, you can get it from scrapbook.com, you can get it from Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart, wherever you want to get it from. Okay, so we're going to cut this square out of that cardstock. And then let's just type in Noel. I'm going to hit the caps lock, and we want to change this font. Now I did use a system font for this, a font that I have downloaded onto my computer. And it was this Anderson font right here. Okay. Now it's set to pen because the last thing we did with text we had to do and we told it to write. So I'm just going to come back and change this to a basic cut. And I'm going to turn it black. And I'm going to size it to fit my paper. And I'll link to this font. I got it from Creative Fabrica as well. I think it's a beautiful font for this type of project. If you want to stack your letters, you can obviously do that. They'll cut out separately. So you can do that when you're putting it all together, or you can click Advanced right here and ungroup the letters, and you can go ahead and stack them here in Design Space so that you can see how it's going to look. All right, guys, that's all there is to it. I'm going to show you how to put these together now. Okay, so we're going to start assembling these bags. So I just have plain gift bags. You can buy them in sets at the store. You can get them on Amazon, wherever you want to get your gift bags from. Then I have all of the pieces that we cut out from Design Space. And I'm just using Elmer's glue. For some of the larger parts, I'm going to use this Craft Bond precision tip glue. And for the smaller parts, and what I don't want you to be able to see any wavy lines or anything like that through, we're going to just use a standard glue stick. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is Santa in the chimney. So you really just want to lay your pieces out and get a good idea of where you want everything to go. And then you can start gluing it on. For these, I am going to use the Craft Bond. These are a little bit bigger, chunkier. They're not going to show so much of the line underneath. And to get a really good kind of brick look effect, you don't want to put your glue all the way out to the edges. When you are putting your glue on these, just kind of place it in the middle. If you come out to the edges, then the edges will stick down, but you kind of want them to curl up a little bit so that it looks more realistic, like real brick. Okay. Before we put this top one on, we need to kind of position where the legs and the feet are going to go, because they need to get up under that top piece of brick. So let's first assemble the feet. So remember, we used a heart for the foot. Put the flat edge of your heart up. Put your little leg on top of it. Then you can turn it over and see where you need to glue. For this, I'm going to use the glue stick. And there we have that leg done. We're going to put the white on it in just a minute, but let's get this other leg done. Okay, so there's the legs. Let me move this kind of out of the way. And let's get our little fluffy parts put on. So you just, again, place them where you think you want them to go. And then you'll put your glue here on the legs. Stick your fluffy part on. Push it all down. And I'll do the next one. Okay, so now both legs are assembled. We'll bring the bag back over here. And just kind of eyeball where you think is going to be the best placement for your legs. I think that is going to work well. So what I want to do is glue my legs down first and then come back and put this on. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to use the glue stick, and I'm going to be very generous with the amount of glue that I'm putting on here. And now I can just come back and make sure that it's going to be exactly where I want it to be, and yes, that's going to be perfect. So I'm going to switch back to this glue, and don't put it all the way to the ends because your ends hang over your bag. But just come in here and get yourself a good amount of glue and stick it on. There is that bag all done. Okay. Let's move on to the Rudolph bag. So again, just lay all your stuff out so you have an idea of where everything's going to go. Okay, and then you just start gluing. Put your eyes together first so that they can be glued down in one piece. Okay, for the antler, I only put glue on this part because I wasn't sure without having it on the bag exactly which parts up here were going to stick. But now that I know, I can come back and put glue under here because I know what parts are going to be on the bag. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm only putting glue on this lower stem. Then I'm going to get it placed on here. Whoa, that is not even where I want it. Okay, so I didn't put it exactly where I wanted it, and I have this leftover glue. If you will just wipe it up while it's wet, it'll be just fine. And then I'm going to come back behind here and put more glue on the rest of it. Okay. Our Rudolph sack is done. Let's keep going. Okay, so this one where we used the patterned cardstock and the pin, we're going to start with our back layer. I am not sure which glue I want to use. I think I'm going to use my precision tip, and I'm going to go around the edges, but not too close to the edge because it'll squeeze out. And then for the middle, I'll just throw some glue stick on there. Okay. And next is our patterned paper, and I'm only going to use the glue stick on this one. The reason that I'm switching out these is because this does leave a little bit of a bump in there. It's kind of like using the old school Elmer's glue. Now I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to place this underneath my mat so that it can get time to kind of really stick together while I'm putting this part together. So I'm just going to glue the Merry Christmas on top of the red background, and I'm just going to use my standard glue stick here again. Take my bag out from underneath my mat. Kind of eyeball where I want it to go so I know when I'm putting it back on with the glue I can line up which line I have this on so I know exactly where I want it. This one is done. We'll just need to come back and add our extra flower thing up here on this one. And finally, our one with the sheet music. So I'm going to assemble the sheet music part first, and then I'll put it onto the bag. You can go either way you want with this. It really doesn't matter. This is just how I'm doing it. Now, a handy thing about the sheet music ones are you can use the lines of the music to line up your letters so you know you are getting them perfectly straight. Okay, so the letters are on the page now. Okay, so the letters are on the music page now. We just need to put the music page onto the sack. So we'll turn this guy over. Again, I'm going to use the glue stick because I have used actual paper. This is real sheet music. If you had used a cardstock, you could use the precision tip glue. Get our bag over here. This one is done. Again, we just need to add some kind of pretty embellishment to the top. And that's it, guys. It is that easy. You can make any of these with your Cricut using Design Space. You don't need anything extra or fancy. Just a few of the things in Design Space came with the access, but you could get away without using that too. All right, that's all I've got. We'll see you next time.